Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Calix Smart Home and Business Platform introduction. I see a lot of familiar faces in the room today and a couple of new ones. Also see that we've got some folks dialed in on the bridge. I'll introduce myself. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Greg Blakeney. I am a regional sales manager with Calix, and I've been with Calix just over 13 years. And Blaine, on the way in this morning, I actually realized that I've been calling on your office here in Gardner for close to 8 years now. So, man, time sure does fly. I'm excited to share with you today a real game changer from Calix. It's the Smart Home and Business Platform. And we believe it is a platform that is really going to elevate your subscribers' experience and entrench your brand. And we'll get into that here shortly. I want to say if you have questions, feel free to stop me or raise a hand. And if everyone's ready, we'll get started. So we'll take a quick look at the snapshot of what I see as a 2018 battleground. And we see more and more attention shift into the home and the subscriber experience specifically. It's clear to us that the battle lines are being drawn for what we are calling the war for the subscriber. So that's 2018. And to set the stage for this morning's discussion, I'd like for you each to just consider your subscriber base for a moment. Just think about what do you actually know about them? What do you know about their connected experience inside their home? How do you judge their, I guess, satisfaction level? How do you determine if you have, say, potential churn candidates, and how do you protect them if you do? I'd like you to keep some of that in mind as we walk through the Calix Smart Home and Business Platform this morning. So with the IoT space really exploded in 2017, and this was obvious if you walk through any of the major retailers, especially around the holiday seasons, Christmas, for instance. And all of the different brands had displays set up for smart doorbells and lighting control and water controls, home automation, or even, if you will, security systems. Loss of words there. But, these displays actually became permanent, right? I mean, you can't go into a store today without seeing them. Kind of like seeing compact discs in a store, maybe 15, 20 years ago, or vinyl to go that far back. On the way in here this morning, I actually got an email from from Home Depot, and it was saying, hey, connected home, pick your ecosystem. What do you want? Let's roll. So it's constantly being advertised to us and pushed from the major manufacturers and retail markets. Now, in parallel to that, we saw the Googles and the Amazons of the world, the major players, start to really embrace the connected devices and really wrap their ecosystems around them, and ultimately start to monetize with them, pull money in and increase the coffer levels, right? But sadly, the subscriber experience has been left behind in large. We believe gone are the days where the actual DMARC was just the modem in the home, right? Today, that DMARC is actually deeper inside the home, and it's the Wi-Fi antenna. And I actually kind of view that as the gateway to the smart home. So without a robust solution inside the home, I believe we're actually contributing to our customers' dissatisfaction. So if we look at the Internet of Things, today, adoption stands at roughly 25%, and it's projected to go north of 50% by 2022. Now, this equates to about 66 million homes. And think for just a moment, 66 million homes, right, average consumers, with maybe 4, 5, or 10 devices inside their home. Now, what does this do for the complexity within their home network? Now, how do these devices actually work inside the home, and how do they manage them? Do they work well? We believe at Calix that there is strong value in corralling these various devices into a common platform and really simplifying things for the consumer and your customer ultimately. And then we've got the big mega brands, I'll call them, and at the top of the list, I'd say, are Amazon and Google. Just a few short years ago, they set their sights into the homes of their customers as well. They announced cool, interactive hardware that consumers embraced very quickly. And while the devices may look shiny, new, and exciting, What these companies are really doing is extending their core business practices into the consumer's home, which we believe would be very hard as a service provider to compete with. Now, at Calix, we believe you should view these other companies as allies and not competitors. And I'll speak a little bit later as to why that's so important. So if we take a look at a few of them, we'll start with Amazon. Amazon is without a doubt the dominant player in the smart home world. And the main objective has been to drive the consumer to the Amazon marketplace. And they took what we see as the monster of Amazon.com and they took it a step further and introduced the Echo and the Alexa products. And many of you probably have these in your homes today. But starting as a simple way to control your music, and then moving on to a way to order, say, diapers or common household goods, all the way up to barbecue pits and car parts, right? Through simple speech interaction, you're able to bring these products into your home without having to leave the home. This is all made capable through a greatly expanding skill set, the voice skills, if you will. And that skill set is increasing exponentially. If you haven't taken a look, I'd suggest going. I mean, what they're trying to do with these devices is simply phenomenal. Now, secondly, they lead customers to the Amazon Web Services, and that's essentially the market leader in cloud solutions today. Now, customers with workload needs, whether it be storage or elastic compute power by the minute, day, or month, the ability to develop an app or launch a business in, say, days or weeks instead of months or years, Amazon Web Services not only makes this possible, but it makes it very simple to do and quick to do. AWS is without a doubt the Goliath in cloud services today. They are literally growing exponentially. And it is without a doubt the ultimate end game for Amazon. We shift over to Google. Google's influence really comes from their immense success in the world of search. And as consumers, we benefit from their algorithms and their page ranking capabilities and those search results that we so desperately rely on daily, right? But the real return for Google is in the data that they mine from us daily. It's actionable data that they turn into revenue. So in 2016, they introduced the Google Home. It's a smart speaker, very similar to Amazon's Echo. Now, the Google Home is their interactive consumer device, and it ultimately steers consumers to Google search. Once again, it's extending their core business into the home. And another aspect of Google was the advent of the Android OS. On the heels of this, they announced Android Things. Now, Android Things, in short, was their stab at an overall IoT ecosystem management platform. And the goal simply being to interact with any IoT device seamlessly using a common method, regardless of brand. The many new IoT devices are starting to embed Android Things, helping Google spread their footprint and build dominance in this rapidly growing market space. And then we'll shift again over to Samsung. Samsung is an interesting study in this space, and unlike the internet giants, they're predominantly a consumer appliance manufacturer. Now, however, they are expanding their core business to include the connected home, upping the appeal of their washers and dryers and coffee machines, whatever you can think of, pretty much everything these days. So catching the wave of the connected home, they made a move a few years back that really seems to have paid off. And they purchased a small startup called SmartThings. Now, similar to how Google is embedding Android Things into the consumer endpoints, Samsung is doing the same thing with SmartThings. Now, consider for just a moment the growth that Samsung has had specifically in the US market with home appliances, right? They've gained immense customer loyalty and they have proven their durability. So if I look at my own house, I've got a couple of Samsung TVs, flat screens. One's a smart TV. I've got a Samsung washer and dryer. And I believe in a previous home, we had a refrigerator. So in my mind, the logical next step is the continued proliferation of smart things into the various Samsung product lines. So Amazon, Google, and Samsung look to be the current leaders in the space. And a little later, we'll talk about how you can take advantage of their successes as you venture into your subscribers' connected home. But one last consideration is Apple. Now, I would have bet on Apple being in the lead not too long ago, but they really have seemed to waffle in this space. Now, no doubt they have a huge consumer following and a great iOS ecosystem, But what about the connected home? Now, I recall their attempt at an ecosystem called HomeKit not too long ago. I haven't seen that it's been all that successful. It lost, not at least from folks I've discussed it with, and friends who've tried it. I had limited success with it myself, and in the end, I found it just all too simple to take each of my connected device apps and put them in a folder on my phone and just pull them up one at a time as I needed them. But now Apple's actually introduced the HomePod, and in Apple tradition, it is a pricey device, and it's tied very tightly to the iOS ecosystem. Outside of iOS, however, things can get a little bit wonky. Now, the well-known features of Apple Music are not fully realized, for instance, when interacting with Spotify or Pandora. So again, it works great with the Apple ecosystem, but in the end, it seems to be an upscale music device. So, while currently not a dominant player in the space, I wouldn't discount Apple just yet. And Calix is certainly keeping an eye on them, and we will adjust accordingly as we see them find their foothold. So the last item I opened up with was customer dissatisfaction. And historically, the network has ended at the DSL modem or the ONT. You've all been designing and implementing networks most of your careers. You build it, you get it to the home, done and gone. Well, these end devices were simple, featureless units, and they presented the subscriber with a simple Ethernet port or maybe a simple Wi-Fi antenna. They were just purpose-built media converters. And we often viewed them as an operational expense rather than an investment for the network. But a great subscriber experience is defined by their actions within the home, and the portability and convenience of that connection is paramount. This is where great Wi-Fi is key, but studies show that roughly 63% of subscribers have Wi-Fi issues. So you can start to see how a lackluster performance inside the home has essentially pushed consumers to retailers looking for a better solution. And we see that consumers are more than willing to spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on supplementary devices, such as routers and gateways and whole home coverage Wi-Fi solutions, in an effort to make their web connection ubiquitous throughout the home. Now, they want to connect from anywhere, and they want to support multiple sessions of streaming and gaming, or maybe a better home office experience. And the largest effort by far has been focused on the Wi-Fi antenna, that new DMARC that I mentioned previously. So this supports Calix's belief that consumers are more than willing to spend their hard-earned money to enhance their home experience. A robust service tier is useless if it's not easily accessible inside the home. And ultimately, this is a revenue miss that we believe you can take advantage of. Because all that's left are the increased support cost and potential subscriber churn. Consider the mom or dad who comes home with a $500 or $600 whole home Wi-Fi coverage kit. They take it out the box and they try to get it to power up and configure, and after a day or two potentially, you're just not doing what they expected it to do. Now they're out a lot of hard-earned cash. They're highly aggravated, and what do? They pick the phone up and they call you, the service provider. We've seen that roughly 63% of subscribers have Wi-Fi issues, and more than half of them will call the service provider. On top of that, the average Wi-Fi trouble call lasts about 3 times longer than a standard trouble call. So call volume has gone up, the complexity of these calls has gone up, and the average talk time per call has gone up. Now, this is having a significant impact on your operational expense and ultimately your bottom line. And as far as the data goes, it goes right by you. It passes you right up. These connected devices drive all the consumer data straight to the internet giants, not your company. You've heard me say before that the Googles and the Amazons of the world have really, truly instrumented your subscribers in ways that you haven't even considered. They know what they like, what they don't like, what their habits are. They know how to sell to your subscribers. And in the end, it's bringing in royalties and building up the coffers and expanding their dominant footprint. They've instrumented you, your customers, even though you may have provided them with the broadband connection for several years. They know them and you simply don't, not at that level at least. So we believe it's a critical step into winning the subscriber experience or war and ultimately owning the smart home is to insert yourself into this data flow. And as Google has proven, the key to understanding your subscribers is in the data. So looking back at the home, it should be no surprise that when these consumers think about innovation, they really think about these hardware stalwarts and the big, mega brands that make the fantastic, aesthetically pleasing, fun devices, right? These are just retail devices that they interact with daily, but in the bigger picture, they really kind of pale in comparison to the investments that you've made over the years into your network. And I'll add, by the way, that network makes these devices so doggone powerful. I mean, what good would they be if you couldn't connect to them from just about anywhere? I know when I'm working in, on my iMac, or if I'm streaming to a smart TV, I'm not sitting there going, "Wow, my cable provider's gateway is so cool." You know, I don't really think about it at all. It's just kind of there. It's really kind of invisible to me. So as we think about bringing a smart home experience to you and your subscribers, part of that challenge is making your brand more visible like the trendy consumer products are today. So I bring the story full circle. I'll remind you that the IoT revolution has really continued to add complexity to the average consumer's home network, just making it a mess, quite frankly. And all the while, it's driving a lot of money into retail sales, as well as pushing the data into the internet giants where they continue to capitalize and grow. This in turn is leaving you with increased support costs and likely driving incremental churn based on poor subscriber experience. So what do you do about it? We put a lot of thought into this, and it's definitely something worth talking about here. We'll give you a few things that we've seen in the market, but we believe at Calix there's definitely a different, much better approach. So what about inviting other players in by giving away their devices for, say, a term commitment from your subscriber? Essentially luring the customer in with a freebie, right? Like the free toaster back in the day when you opened up a bank account. Now, while this may grab some attention and it may add some incremental subscribers, all you're really doing is pushing that other brand into your subscriber's psyche, right? This does nothing to promote your own brand, and it actually costs you something, and ultimately it hurts margins. Another unmanageable device has been deployed into the subscriber's IoT ecosystem, and we've done nothing to bring that ecosystem under control. Nor have we changed anything inside the home to increase customer satisfaction. Remember, the goal is to keep them satisfied, maybe more than satisfied, so we can protect what exists and grow the base. So we don't see this as an option. And neither do we see the whole, I'm going to go be a retailer option either. I mean, think about the complexities and risks alone in the retail market. Think about stocking and inventory levels, right? I mean, how would you feel at the end of the year, say the first part of next year, being stuck with 1,500 devices that were made the previous year and no one wants them because the new device is out, right? They want the latest and greatest, the Tim Allen, right? Bigger, better, newer. So again, with the complexities that brings to the from the retail marketing shot, if you will, and the huge risk of inventory, we believe it is not the strategy you should pursue. What does this do for your company's actual bottom line if you were to pursue that? Just as with the first option, you're still pushing another brand and you're adding more unmanaged devices into the subscriber's home. Nothing has really changed inside the home, and you're still growing support costs through adding the complexity. So again, not an option. And then you have those who want to just kind of partner up and ride coattails, or just follow the leader, if you will. So joining forces. If you look at the MSO market, there's the Comcast syndicate. Now, there's certainly some commonalities in what they're trying to accomplish there, but overall, control is in Comcast's hands. Now, if you're in the syndicate, you reap the benefits, but ultimately, Comcast holds the reins, and you're fully dependent on the path they choose to follow. And when that path doesn't converge with your business plan, what do? I'll also point out that it's not a software-centric solution, and we'll find out here shortly why that's so important. This is really a hardware play that may look enticing, but it's just another brick that would probably have to be replaced. We've all been there before. It's just not a path we see worth following. So we talked about a few things, what we think you shouldn't do. Obviously, doing nothing is not an option. Being a retailer is not even really an option for most players, I would say. And trying to do the giveaway or ride the coattails. Now, we've seen efforts along these paths. We haven't seen ultimate success, however. So at Calix, here's what we believe you should do. And I'm going to read this line for line because every bit of it's important. We believe you should offer an integrated, purpose-built smart home solution with best-in-class elements and all the advantages of the fast-paced consumer electronics market. And I'll tell you, the last piece of that, fast-paced consumer electronics market, that's really exciting, and I'm going to hit on that a few times as we go forward. It's just my favorite piece of this, quite frankly. So that means changing the game by creating a platform that enables your brand. And we do this by co-opting existing brands and leveraging the progress that they've already made. Remember, I mentioned earlier as viewing them as allies and not competitors, and this is why. It's also important for their ecosystems to continue proliferation into the consumer devices so that they can expand and grow to maturity, and we can learn to interact with them natively. Now, delivering this new smart home platform will also eliminate the need for your customer to go spend his or her money at the big retailers on hodgepodge solutions. So with that, today I am proud to introduce to you the centrally linked smart home solution powered by the Calix Smart Home and Business Platform. I've got a video here I want to share with you, and then we'll chat about it.
Okay, time to set up my new smart home.
Welcome to the Anycom Smart Home. Do you want to be a Google or Amazon home?
Amazon, please.
Configuring your Anycom Smart Home. Please provide your email.
SueMiller@gmail.com.
Please provide your password.
I love hockey.
Thank you. Your Anycom Smart Home is now set up. Is there anything else I can help you with?
No thanks.
Goodbye.
Wow, that's it? I feel so powerful.
Okay, so I think that's extremely cool what we just showed you there. And what we saw in this video was an actual interaction with an early functional prototype component of the Calix Smart Home and Business solution. Now, while it may look large, and I know it's branded kind of generically here, just keep in mind that at this stage, we weren't really so much focused on the aesthetics so much as true functionality. And what's cool is that the subscriber is engaging with a device in simple speech. It's actually interacting with skills that were written by Calix and are running in AWS, in the cloud. And even bigger, I would say, is that this unit would actually have your branding on it, not the Anycom that you see if you can actually read that in the picture there. So we start to see moving the CenturyLink brand visibility from a simple end device, maybe in a closet, out to something with higher visibility in the living room or kitchen or office that your subscribers will interact with daily. And you're leveraging the excitement of current technology with your own brand and hardware. And the Calix Smart Home and Business solution is more than just technology. We're actually enabling real-time marketing metrics that help you identify new revenue streams while promoting your brand. The software-centric focus allows you to speed new features to your subscribers at a pace that keeps up with the consumer market. Rapid deployment of the newest innovations. And this goes back to that, consumer-paced market that I was excited about and still am earlier there. All the while, we're providing you with key insights on managing costs associated with the day-to-day operations. So at a high level, there are four main components of the Calix Smart Home and Business platform. And EXOS is the experience operating system that really enables the platform. And coupled with the new cutting-edge GigaFamily home devices, we provide your subscribers with an innovative way to interact with your brand and services. And from your perspective, Calix Cloud enables you with clear, precise data about your network to give insights on market growth as well as maintaining operational integrity. And lastly, we have Calix Services that can provide you the know-how to operationalize the solution and ensure success. So we'll start going around the squares here with the what I call the real ninja sauce, EXOS. It's the underlying software that enables the Calix Smart Home and Business platform to be so effective. So architecturally, hardware extraction is the key. And we'll start with the concept of system on a chip, essentially these hard-coded functions or programs that are tightly bound to the underlying chipsets, or the silicon, if you will, merchant silicon. The EXOS takes this a step farther, and we actually abstract those functions away from the hardware and into software. So we're separating us from the silicon vendors and freeing ourselves from their control and constraints. This happens in the software abstraction layer, and it allows Calix to innovate or integrate features at the consumer's expected pace. Again, harking back to what we think you should do. Now, this abstraction makes EXOS completely agnostic to the hardware. Now we have full control of not only the common applications and management components, but we also introduced the microservices application platform. Now, this is where things get really interesting. Now we have a way to drop in and interact with those commonly known ecosystems, as well as your own, all from the subscriber's perspective, and begin to show seamless integration of them inside their home over your network. So EXOS provides your subscribers with uninterrupted service. And this is all possible via the containerized approach of EXOS. It being modular and stateful, it is essentially always on. And for you as a service provider, it means that by EXOS's decoupling of the state from its execution, we're able to drop in new features, update existing ones, or do a base code upgrade without impacting the users at all. And from the subscriber's perspective, they no longer have downtime during upgrades. No more rebooting the hardware or calling the service provider to find out what's going wrong or how to fix it. You've made new features available or improved existing ones, and the customer never really knew what happened at all. And so as you saw last year with AXOS, EXOS also has the software abstraction layer that makes the software fully independent from the underlying chipsets and vendors, as I mentioned previously. This brings an incredible amount of flexibility to EXOS. We can now bring that common management model into the premise devices. So as a service provider, you can now realize that rapid integration into your OSS and BSS systems. And with insights and analytics on board, we now have that DPI awareness to help understand the habits and the needs of your subscribers. Lastly, the ability to put a security element at the edge inside the home is huge. Now you're capable of shutting down a threat before it spreads into the larger network, squashing it at the edge. The subscriber also benefits by keeping up with the latest innovations, since you can now integrate them at the pace of consumer adoption, not months or years later, with yet another hardware swap, right? Take out A, put in B, take out B, put in C. Now we're hardware agnostic, and we're dropping and pulling from a software perspective. You've now become competitive with the features of the retail realm. And from the ecosystem integration, it's actually made possible again by the containerized structure of EXOS. Through the application software developer kit and the map that I mentioned earlier, we bring this wild west of ecosystems under one manageable umbrella. For you as a provider, you're leveraging curated solutions that already exist. And you can choose what to include based on the needs and fit with your subscribers or demographics. No need to reinvent the wheel. Folks, the wheels already exist, and they're in the hands of many of your subscribers already. So let's just enable what's there. The subscribers benefit from the elimination of the various gateway hubs that enable their devices today. And I might have mentioned earlier, I've got 4 of them in my office today. I mean, they just take an Ethernet port, they add clutter, they get dusty. It's just a mess, right? So we're going to do away with all of that and put the management into EXOS. And also support is streamlined through the service provider. Now your subscribers can manage their various devices through a common platform, regardless of the native ecosystem that they come from. So if we take a quick look at the Giga family, I spoke earlier about the simple Ethernet handoff to the subscriber, and really in the end, it was the end of the network as we knew it. The modems were the early ONTs, and they were simple, purpose-built devices that they did evolve somewhat in features, But the real adder came from the retail market, where consumers looked to solve the elusive whole home coverage, and specifically innovations in the Wi-Fi area. The new Giga family is a highly sophisticated smart home system, aesthetically pleasing, software-centric, and fully manageable. These new devices are the heart of the subscribers' interactions with the Calix smart home and business platform. So let's take a closer look at the capabilities. On ground level for the Calix smart home and business platform is the new GigaSpire family. And we've really taken the home experience to a new level here. Folks, from the onset, Calix was determined to make no compromises, and I believe we have exceeded that expectation. For the first time as a service provider, you will be able to offer the latest full 8x8 11AX Wi-Fi capable of 6 gig. We've also included universal management from most of the popular IoT platforms, the Zigbee, Z-Wave, low-energy Bluetooth, and also native to the GigaSpire, the voice command services from Amazon AWS, so the speaker and the simple speech interaction. So now you have the latest in Wi-Fi capabilities, along with the ability to manage the customer's growing IoT devices, send some clarity to them, clean things up for them, and also their ability to interact with common speech through Alexa. So essentially all of the current wow of the consumer market in your branded network. Let's talk a little bit about how we've tiered the capabilities for the various service offerings. And if we look at the GigaSpire family, we see there are 3 main SKUs. The first being the GigaSpire Max off to the left here. It's really what I described in the previous slide. It's got the integrated voice skills with Alexa and the speaker, and there will be more brought on board. And we've also got the full suite of IoT ecosystem management, right? I mentioned Zigbee, Z-Wave, low-energy Bluetooth, and it's rounded out with that best-in-class, first offered full 11AX Wi-Fi experience. If we take it down a notch from there, we have the mid-level entry, the GigaSpire Go, which has the Alexa voice and speaker, and then the 11AX Wi-Fi coverage. And from an entry-level, I'd say an entry-level gateway perspective, we've got the GigaSpire Blast, which has the full 8x8 11AX Wi-Fi coverage capabilities. Now, in case where you might need say an extender, so to speak, we've got the Giga Mesh, which works seamlessly with the GigaSpire family. So remember that each of the devices on the left can be set up as a gateway or a satellite, and that's it. That's good to know when you consider every house is just a little bit different, and you may need voice services in a couple of spots, but you really only need the IoT management at the central hub within the home. So they can be mixed and matched as either, say, a gateway and a couple of satellites, or for whatever mix you might need. Right? Every house is different. So if we consider the possibilities when we couple the innovation of voice skills with your brand offering, as a service provider, you can start to see the benefits of automating the customer service engagement model. Now, fewer calls are made, fewer trucks are rolled, solutions are addressed quicker, and now you have the ability to remotely troubleshoot. Your subscribers are also engaging with a solid platform, a mature platform, since you've co-opted the Amazon brand, and there will be more to come on that front as well, more brands, I should say. Your brand is now positioned in the home as the latest and greatest out there today. And many of your subscribers will be using the skills that they've already adopted through early interactions with Alexa. In looking at IoT, we see the ability now to manage the various ecosystems under one common umbrella, as I mentioned previously. No longer do your subscribers have to stack a hub per device and manage them independently. And this goes the same for all the various apps that control them. They're all now integrated into one streamlined ecosystem under the CenturyLink brand in your smart home system. So we can actually take a quick snapshot here and compare it to, say, Comcast's XFi offering. And many of you have probably seen this advertised on television. I know I'm in a Comcast market, and I'm bombarded by XFi and their Xfinity offers, right? But a quick glance shows that out the gate, the Calix solution has a significant lead on many of the feature areas. Don't forget, this is at our start. Remember, this is right out the gate, we're leading the pack here. And I can tell you we have every intention to stay ahead of the pack, leading the way around every corner. putting the competitors behind us as we go. So now we can shift over to the Calix Cloud and the two services that really enable your success as a service provider. Now that EXOS and the physical building blocks of the smart home are in place, we need to empower you as a service provider to ensure an unmatched subscriber experience. And recall earlier that, as Google has shown, the key to understanding your subscriber is in the data. Now, the Calix mission is clear. We need to help you unlock the relevant data that's trapped in your network. Now, this data needs to be actionable. In other words, as we distribute or democratize the data throughout your company, it needs to be easily interpreted so decisions can be made quickly. We're no longer going to see it locked away in a data warehouse or just a spreadsheet 50 columns wide and 1,000 pages long that makes no sense to anyone. This empowers your people within the organization to proactively monitor, enhance, and protect the subscriber experience rather than being reactive or late. The elements of the Calix Cloud family that really work within the smart home solution are the Calix Marketing Cloud and Calix Support Cloud. Excuse me. Marketing Cloud is really purpose-built to give your broadband marketing team insights into customer behaviors. You'll be able to increase ARPU, truly target market rather than taking the shotgun or blanket approach. And you'll also have what I refer to as a kind of a 24/7 predictive churn analysis running in the background, helping you protect the embedded base while looking to grow who you're not subscribing to in a smart way. Now, Support Cloud is your weapon against climbing support costs, right? With Support Cloud, we can identify and automate repairs while reducing truck rolls, trouble calls, and average talk times. Wouldn't it be nice to actually fix something before the subscriber even knew that a problem existed? Just think about the power of that. So with Support Cloud, we're really using the power of intelligence to streamline your operations and costs while giving your subscribers that always-on solid experience. Now, if we go back to the question I asked everyone when we first opened up, what do you know about your subscribers? I would venture to say that you probably know the service tier they're on, what they're worth as far as monthly revenue, their address, maybe some information on income and basic demographics. I would bet, however, that no one in your marketing department would approach you and say, hey, we've got too much information. Stop with the information. That's not going to happen. So what is it that you don't know? What else would you like to know? We need to know that each home is a unique collection of the family's activities and habits. So when you begin to get a picture of an individual subscriber's world, you start to understand how to better serve their needs. More than just counting them as a monthly subscriber, what about ensuring their experience is adequate or more than adequate? Are they on the right service tier? Have they hit current service limits that's gotten them aggravated and it's got them online looking for another provider? Have they been on another provider's website? What are the drivers inside the home? Are there heavy gamers, heavy movie streaming? We do that in my house quite a bit, actually. Is there a home office that needs like an SLA service so that they can do video conferencing? With Calix Marketing Cloud, you'll be able to gain clarity into the subscriber's experience. Now, you now have the tools to ensure that a great subscriber experience and identify potential churn candidates as well as missed revenue opportunities. So what about the technology within the home? I'm certain that, with a quick record search, the modem or gateway that, you delivered them when they signed up. But what do you really need to know? Simply knowing what the subscriber uses the network for is not enough today. You really should know how they use the network. How is the Wi-Fi coverage throughout the home? Remember, most subscribers view any performance issues as originating from you, the service provider. So a subscriber with a substantial service tier may view your service as poor when the root issue is really with the supplemental hardware that they bought at the retail store. And how about the IoT landscape? Do they also have a farm of gateway hubs, if you will, to control their devices? Calix Support Cloud gives you the tools to understand the subscriber's technology footprint and aids in proactive remediation of issues. Support Cloud shows you the big picture and identifies problems and solutions to ensure that great subscriber experience. So Calix Cloud Solutions give your marketers and operations teams the data they need to make crisp, intelligent decisions and to ensure a robust and superior subscriber experience and identify new revenue possibilities while driving down operational expenses. And we'll round out the conversation this morning with a look at Calix Services. And last but not least, Calix Services stands ready with the know-how needed in implementing your new smart home experience. We can provide you with the right start in operationalizing the solution to ensure success. So after a seamless startup, Calix Services has available on-site workshops and best practices to be certain that your operations teams are ready to support this revolutionary solution. We can also work with you beyond the initial applications to custom tailor skills and applications to further entrench the CenturyLink brand. So folks, that kind of rounds out the Calix Smart Home and Business Platform discussion. I realize it was kind of a high-level overview, and I hope you gained the insight into the importance of really looking at the subscriber's home and understanding what it is that they're doing, how they're using your network, is it adequate, how to potentially upsell, proactive remediation of problems all through cloud support, and how do you market, while protecting the embedded base, how do you very smartly market to the subscribers you don't have today? And that's what this solution can certainly bring to you. I do have one last thing I want to share with you. I'm not certain how many of you are actually on LinkedIn. I know several of us are connected. First of all, I'll say if you're not on LinkedIn, it's a wonderful platform. You can gain many insights into your industry or any hobbies or pretty much anything you are interested in. It's not just a place to showcase your professional pedigree, if you will, but I'd say being in telecom and working for Calix, we share information almost daily on LinkedIn. And it's funny, as I landed in Dallas, I got on my iPhone and I was going to do my Monday morning shares to make sure they were out there. And it was funny. The first two that came back to back were blog posts or information that are just uncannily parallel to what we discussed today. The mastering the subscriber experience, and then right on the heels of that was the all-important Wi-Fi connection. So if we're not connected on LinkedIn or you'd like to, I'll send my information out. It's on the screen here. I'll get an attendee list here, and I'll send a follow-up email. Folks, I do appreciate your time. I'm available all afternoon if you'd like to discuss this farther. But I can tell you on behalf of the CenturyLink sales team, we very much look forward to bringing the Calix Smart Home and Business solution to you as soon as possible and start winning that subscriber war. Good luck.